Vecino's coffee guy, and someone asked me, how do you choose a coffee house when you're not familiar with where you are and what shops are good and what shops aren't? And I'm going to give you a little of my feedback on how I can recognize from within a few seconds if a shop is good or if it isn't. And if it is such that I would order an espresso drink, or if I would go for a drip brew. And one of the things that will, kind of tip you off is how they have their bar arranged. And so here we have a refrigerator right under the counter of next to our espresso machine. We're going to have it there because we need to keep certain things in the refrigerator. Now, it doesn't mean if somebody doesn't have an under-counter refrigerator, it's a bad place. It could be, over to the side, a full-size refrigerator. There's lots of options. Most shops do have an under-counter refrigerator. And I personally like it so that when I'm turned around and facing the machine, I'm opening the door and I'm not stepping back to open the door. I'm just standing here and I'm opening the door. So, but that's my preference, and I want this here because I'm going to have my milk substitutes like almond milk, soy milk, whatever you prefer. And I want a place to keep my espresso pitchers. Now, a good shop will have their espresso pitchers typically in the refrigerator. And the reason they want it in the refrigerator is because you can texture cold milk, but if it's warm, you can't. You have the ability to make good foam between refrigerator temperature 36 to 39 degrees up to 100. And so you want your pitchers cold to start with. So if you see a shop that is storing their pitchers on top of the machine, that's a bad sign, because this is the heating. We have the cups up here because this is the cup tray which heats the cups. Why is that important? Because when the cups are warm and you're pulling a shot of espresso into a cold cup, it's going to take that temperature down as it falls, and then it hits a cold cup, it's going to hit it. So some people will even pre-warm the cup with boiling water on an espresso-based drink, maybe not a latte, but a cappuccino. And so you want your cups warm. This is the warming tray, so you do not want the pitcher where it's warm. You want it in the refrigerator where it's cold. That's a tip. If I see within seconds, I can walk in and see if they have pitchers sorted out here. Now, another thing you may see is if you go and they have the portafilters. If they have the portafilters down here, that's a bad sign. These are common mistakes that people make that don't know any better. There's a reason why you do what you do, and there's a reason behind everything. Now, if these are room temperature, and these portafilters are made of brass, some of the new machines are made of stainless steel, they're quite heavy. So if they're room temperature and you're putting in the espresso and you pull the shot, you're only using 1.5 ounces to 1.75 ounces of espresso, and it's going to pull the heat out of the coffee by the time it drips out of here. Now, especially if you have a portafilter with a double spout. So now I've got, this is room temperature, and now I have to heat this up before I make my shot, or it's not going to be the right temperature. The espresso is going to taste different at different temperatures. So one of the common things I see is people will store their portafilters here. You should look for the portafilter being in the group head, because the group heads are going to be hot and warm. This is a thermal siphon machine, and so it's going to run hot water and circle the warm water through the head, and it's going to be hot all the time. And so you want to keep the portafilters hot. And so you're going to leave them in. You want the frothing pitchers cold, and you want these hot. Okay? Some other things I do before I order an espresso is I will watch for two things. I will stand back and let two other people order a milk-based or an espresso drink before I order. And I'm going to look at the shot. And I'm going to time it. And I'm going to look at the stream. If it's too fast, I don't want to order it because it's not getting the goodness out of the coffee. If it's too slow, I don't want it because it's going to be over-extracted and bitter. So I'm kind of looking at the range of 25 seconds, give or take 5 seconds, on a traditional machine. Now, there's new machines that profile, okay? And what they're going to do is they're going to bloom it. They're going to pre-wet the grounds and then stop, and then go up to a higher pressure, and then they're going to ramp up even beyond what a typical machine like this will push the water through. And then they're going to back it off. So there's ways to control a shot that you can have. I've had great shots that are 45 seconds to even a minute. And when you think about it, it's like, well, you do a pour over. It blooms. Takes 2.5 minutes maybe to do a good pour over. So when you understand the science behind the coffee, you're understanding something when you watch them pull a shot. Now, then I watch them steam the milk. And one of the things you'll find is even how they hold the pitcher, and I can hear if they're overstretching the milk and they're adding too much air, it's hissing too loud, I know that they're not texturing the milk. They're kind of making the big foam. It's just like, I remember driving by a big billboard that says Starbucks, and it had big foam on the top, and I thought, are they bragging or complaining? Because a good espresso person would know, big bubbles, it tastes starchy. It doesn't taste sweet. When you texture the milk correctly, you're going to bring out the lactose, the sugars in that milk. So you got sugars and protein and fat, and you're going to arrange that milk, and you're going to texture that milk and bring out the goodness of the milk and get it into the cup. So I'm listening for and I'm watching for how they're steaming their milk and how they're pulling their shots. And then I may decide to order an espresso drink if they're pulling good shots and they have a good milk texture technique. Okay, this is Guy from Vecino's Coffee. Come back for a next episode. Hit the like button and subscribe, and give me a thumbs up if you like this. Have a good day.